Good evening, Clark, and welcome to the Cask and Bothy. You keep writing your notes there as we welcome everybody in.
Hello, Molly. Hello.
We talk about where. Yep.
Hello, everybody else.
We're back in the Taste and Bothy, where every dram tells a story.
Hey, love
it. Evening, Tony. Yes, there's no picture because we hadn't gone live at the time. I was just in the comments section in the YouTube channel, but we're now live. You should be able to hear us and see us. Maybe you're better turning the pictures off, right? And if that's maybe no better idea, listening to us is maybe better than actually looking at us.
I'm not that sure that's even true.
So here we are, once again in the Taste and Bothy. Now, Clark, I have two drams tonight. You've provided both of them.
I know.
I've never had a Balblair of
any
shape or sort. Never had a Balblair. No. And I've never had a Tom and Tool. I've been to Tom and Tool.
Have you?
But I've never tasted a dram of Tom and Tool.
Right, you want me to tell you
the Balblair first?
The Balblair. Now, this. My wife was at the Stirling Distillery a few weeks ago for the anniversary opening, and
right.
Although I couldn't go with her because I was working, so she took a pal, but she brought me back a wee miniature of Balblair. So that's all I've got. So you've got half and I've got half, and that's all we've got.
Right.
So
well,
if it's wrong,
I might have done better out of this than you, because I seem to have quite a full dram. That's about the same. I mean, what I can't get over, right, and I don't know if the camera's picking this up, on how clear it's almost a new make spirit. In fact, I've looked at the Rosebank that's been in the Bourbon cask at the distillery for almost 2 years. On the 19th of July, it'll be 2 years, and it looks darker than that. So,
well,
the thing I look at this is how viscous it is, how oily it is.
Aye,
you can see that in it. It's very oily.
Yeah. Now it says it's a 10-year-old.
I know it says it's 10-year-old, and it's 50% proof. That's all the stuff you told me. So I'm quite interested to try this. And even when you look at it in the glass, it is I think it's going to have a lovely mouthfeel to this. Just looking at that viscosity, it looks creamy. I'm expecting it to be oily and fill my mouth up. So I'm actually quite excited about this, as you can tell. Never had a Balblair, so I'm looking forward to it.
Well, I hope you enjoy it and we're not disappointed. That's all I can say.
Oh, it smells like Cointreau.
Cointreau.
It's really orange citrusy.
No, I see what you're saying. It does. It does.
That.
I know, but
vanilla there.
I can see what you're saying, but a wee bit kind of like Cointreau. But you wouldn't smell that and go, "That's a glass of Cointreau."
No, you certainly wouldn't. No. Oh, it's very citrusy. Bit of vanilla in there, and you can tell it's been in a bourbon cask.
That's right. It is.
Right. All right. I like the nose of that. Like a bit of gooseberry in there as well. It really is quite peachy as well. Peachy and apricot. Really.
And a wee bit of
it's like a nice white wine. It's got that kind of Pinot Grigio type white wine-ish to it. But then again, looking at the colour, are you sure your wife hasn't just poured a glass of white wine or something into a bottle and said, "Here you are, Clark, this is..."
Well, it depends what kind of white wine it is, because it's not very coloured if it's a white wine. You know, it's a very Grigio or something like that.
She's finished off a white wine and a rosé and stuck the two of them in a glass. Anyway, the nose is good. We're on the palate. Let's get the palate.
Yeah, let's do this. Right, cheers.
Slange.
You're right about it being creamy. It's cream soda, if nothing else.
Oh boy, has it got a kick. How hot and spicy is that? I feel like I've put a Scotch bonnet chilli in my mouth. Wow.
It is, isn't it? Aye. Very chilly.
It has that oily mouthfeel. It's really, really nice. I've just been hit with red apples.
I'm looking to see if anybody's commenting because apparently we've got 2 people on.
Well, Tony is. He said just to say, there you go.
Just Tony, there's only one. I don't mean just Tony like that. I mean, it's only Tony. I don't mean it like that either.
Wow. That is a lovely jam, Clark. It's got a lovely dry finish to it.
It has, isn't it? Yeah.
A wee bit of hint of oak that sits here.
Good, I get that.
Still got that wee twist of citrus in. It's a lovely mouthfeel, and it's also left me with that kind of a little bit of numbness up the top here in my top lip. Oh, aye. I have never seen a Balblair 10 ever. So,
but this is obviously a bottle that these people have. This is a barrel.
They've bought a cask. It's an indie cask. I'll need to speak to Cameron at Stirling and say to Cameron, tell me a bit more about your Balblair, because that's nice. Oh, that's really nice. I
think it tastes much better than it smells.
It's got a wee bit of kind of linseedy.
That's right. It's a bit kind of
furniture
kind of smell.
Furniture polishy type of this.
But you don't get that in the taste.
For a 10-year-old at all. It looks more like it's been in a virgin oak cask. So I don't know how long the bourbon. Well, bourbon would normally be in the cask for 2 years for it to be bourbon, but it's very light in colour. In fact, it's almost clear. It's got a tiny wee hint in it. It looks like a midge's bead in it. There's no look a colour. I don't even know how to say it. It's actually as if it was sparkly. You feel like you've got bubbles on your tongue.
She's just poured a Prosecco into a bottle, isn't she? That's what she's done.
She's added something special to it, though, if she's done that, because this isn't like any Prosecco I've tasted. Oh, that's lovely.
It's nice.
I am really, really surprised. I would like a bottle of that. I would. There's not very much going on in the nose. I think the palate is good. I think the finish is all right. But my overall impression of it, it's a very good dram.
Yeah, I would say so as well.
So my notes are done, my scoring's done, and we'll soon find out where they're on the door. So
my overall impression of it is good.
Did Caitlin see why she bought this one?
No.
Or was she given this?
No. There was a range of them there of stuff. They're quite a new distillery, so they don't have any of their own stuff ready to go. So what they do is they buy barrels from people and bottle themselves. And the idea is that they're trying to say this is kind of what we hope our stuff's going to taste like when it's finished.
Well, I tell you, if it tastes like that, they're doing well.
You're right.
But they'll need to wait 10 years for it to taste like that.
Aye, that's right. That's right.
Oh, aye. I wouldn't. If Jennifer come in with a bottle of that for me, I would not be disappointed. I've still got that finish up, like apples in my mouth.
Yeah.
This is what I would class. I know that Balblair isn't a lowland malt. I know it's a Highland malt, but this has got all the characteristics of a lowland malt. It's fruity.
I know what you mean, aye.
It's a really fruity dram. Well, I'm not going to finish that last wee bit.
Just going to leave
I'm
it
going
for
to keep
later.
that to go. I'm going to go back to that when we're finished. I have really enjoyed that. So then, Mr. L, how did you score it?
Well, not a staggeringly high one, because the nose for me let it down, and the finish is all right, but it's not brilliant. I scored it well on the palate and overall impression, so I'm giving it an 88, which is the same as I gave the Glencadam last week, funny enough.
Right, okay. And I gave it an 87.
Right, there you
go. And I think probably I scored the finish just a wee bit lower than yourself. Yes, Tony's saying that he's on a signatory 13-year-old Macallan 57%.
Oh, right, nice. Right.
That sounds a lovely dram. It's nice to see that he's with an indie bottler the same as we are, so that's quite nice. We're having an indie session, a wee bit indie session.
Nothing wrong with that. No. And moving on. Are we moving on?
Go on then, let's move on. Let me tell everybody what we're going to go to. Can't I tell them any more than that?
No, we can't.
Other than it's a common tool, because what you've written on the bottle is common tool, small batch, PX sherry cask finish. That's all you've written in the bottle. I don't know what the ABV is, and I don't know if it's a non-age statement or whatever.
Right, okay. As far as I can see, there is no age on it.
Right.
It's 40%. As I say, no age.
Is it finished in a PX cask, or has it only ever been in a PX cask?
Has been created by specialist lighting, ex-Bourbon, which are then married and finished in hand-selected PX casks, Andalusia. Yeah. So they're finished in the cask, that's right. So they're
finished in the cask. So that could be 2 minutes, 2 hours, 2 days, 2 years. We have no clue how long it was in the cask to finish. But what I would suggest is, looking at the colour, it wasn't in it for 2 minutes.
No, it's a nice colour, isn't it?
It is. It's a lovely colour.
Yeah.
It's not dissimilar for the Glencadam that we had the other week there in colour.
That's right, aye. It is, isn't it?
It's got a lovely, the way I would describe it is it's amber. It's got an amber colour to it.
Yeah.
It's not like the last one we had. It's not as viscous, but then again, we're only at 40% proof, so it's been diluted down. But it certainly isn't as viscous as the one we've just had. So I don't know what the mouthfeel is going to be like on this, but I'm ready to go up the nose. So
it's a nice dark colour, though, isn't it?
It's a lovely colour. It is a lovely colour.
I'm reading the bottle to see if there's anything about it that you can see, and I think we know. I think we know about it now. Right.
Okay.
We're going to put that dram. There you go. I think this is perhaps a slightly more generous dram than I've poured myself from the last one, because there's more in the bottle.
Well, that's the dealer's prerogative, as they say. If you've got the bottle, you can have as much as you want. I think I got away with that the other week there. So, anyway, let's have a wee nose at this and see where we are.
You can certainly smell the sherry, that's for sure.
There's a wee bit of sherry. I get that coming through at the start. It'd be interesting to know if this, obviously Pedro Jimenez, that's PX for people who are going to catch up with us later on. I mentioned it was a PX cask. Pedro Jimenez is the sherry. That's the cask. You got your standard kind of cherry loaf, the kind of your fruit loaf, fruit cake. A wee bit of spice, but no much on the nose. Evening, Ron. Welcome to the tasting bottle.
Ron's appeared.
There's a wee bit of kind of chocolatey on the nose. Dark chocolate, like a cocoa kind of. That's made my nose itch, that you. So. Yep. That's quite right, Tony. Yes, we said that. The PX cask was a 46%. This is a 40% ABV for those that didn't pick that up on it.
Mm-hmm.
So we say I mean the palate, Clark. Well, whenever we look in the palate, what we got? Slange, buddy.
Cheers.
Mm. Wee bit lighter than the PX we had the other week there with Glencadam.
Excuse me.
It's all right.
That was coming before I took the swig. There's not an awful lot on the palate.
It's juicy. That's the way I would describe that.
There's
It's
not a
juicy.
lot. There's
not a lot in it. I've got a wee bit of marzipan, Clark.
Oh, good. That's just to go in the fruitcake.
And you know these cinnamon swirls that you get at there are other coffee shops available, but when I go to Costa, I normally have a cinnamon swirl. It's got that. It's got.
This is not the BBC.
I've got that. It's got that kind of cinnamon swirl taste to it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's buttery and it's got that kind of raisiny stuff that goes through it. Mm-hmm. It's quite sweet.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a lovely mouthfeel as well. It's not as oily as the last one. You can tell this has been watered down a wee bit. It feels like it's been watered down a wee bit. Actually, it's almost taken everything away. But then again, I've brought it to 40%. I'd like to have seen what this was like.
Yes.
Maybe at 46%, just like the PX was with the Glencadam last time.
That's kind of what it's like. It's kind of like they put too much water in it.
Aye. Just thinking about the finish that I've got in my mouth.
A wee bit spicy.
A wee bit leathery. Leathery.
Very good.
I'm finding it quite dry again, Clark. This is quite dry at the end of it. Sometimes I say it's salty, but my mouth feels quite dry at the end of it.
Yes.
I don't know.
You know, the best thing about this dram is probably the nose. It smells better.
I'm all right with the palate, Clark. I think the palate's fine. I think it loses a wee bit in the finish. And overall, aye.
That's a fair point.
That's a great question, Tony. That's a great question. Do they actually use the same water that they distilled as the whiskey to water it down?
That's an interesting
question.
That's
a great question because I don't know that. That would be maybe that's one that we need to go and find an answer to. Because I know that obviously, if you're using our water at Rosebank comes from the Carron Reservoir, but I don't even know. I've never been asked that question at the distillery, so I'll need to ask Neil Bullock, who's our distillery manager. Do you use the same water that you make spirit from to water it down, or has it been in the cask at 40% and then wherever the cask was kept, have they used that?
It says on the bottle, Tom and Tool, the gentle dram. So I would say that's right. It is a gentle dram. There's no.
So, do we know where their water comes from? Do you want me to Google that? Let me Google that. Let me Google.
Well, it says it's
Tom and Tool distillery water comes from.
It's Speyside, so it's a Ballan True and Spring.
Cummins Tool Distillery. It's the Ballantrae Spring, which is located in the Cromdale Hills.
There you go.
So that would be interesting. And you're quite right in what you're saying, Tony. Yes. What kind of minerals are in it? What's the pH of that water, etc., etc. That's interesting. But is it that same water that they actually use? Great question. It's a fabulous question. I'm going to ask that. Because if they don't, let's say they don't cask it there. Like we don't cask our whiskies at Rosebank. So the spirit is produced and then it's casked off site because we don't have a bonded warehouse there. So ours goes off in a tanker and goes into casks elsewhere. So if we were watering it down, if we were bringing it down before it went into the cask, do we bring it down on site? So do we add water to the once it's went through the spirits still and it goes into the spirit safe, into the spirit tank at the back before it goes off, do we add the water at that point to bring it down to 63% ABV before it goes off site? Or does it go off site and then it gets brought down to 63%? If that's the case, then we're not using the water from
But it depends where you're sending it off to be barreled.
Well, that's correct. So let's say it goes to Bannockburn, to our bottling plant. Let's say it goes into casks there. So that water doesn't come from the reservoir Karen. They will use a reservoir that's in West Lothian to do that. If it goes to Glengoyne use the same reservoir water that we use, so therefore it would be the same water. That's just you looking at that kind of juxtaposition between the two kind of ways that could work. So the question that Tony's asking is a fabulous question.
It is. I'm sure the Glasgow sort of region and maybe still as well comes from Loch Catrin.
Yeah, well, Glasgow all comes from Loch Catrin,
which isn't the same water as you distill with, if it's coming from the hills just behind us.
So, but the thing is, we know that Glengoyne and Rosebank use the same water source. They both come from the reservoir at Carn.
Right.
Tom and Tool are using this spring at Ballantrae.
But are they putting that water in it to bring it down? They're maybe taking
question,
water
Tony.
Else.
I'm going to take a note of that question, pal, and I'm going to ask that question. I'm actually going to email a couple of distilleries. I'm going to ask Tom and Tool. So
interesting.
If they use the same water, it makes a whiskey to dilute it.
To dilute the whiskey. Aye.
Great question. Going to find out. I'm going to come back. What I would probably say, Tony, is the fact that we are in Scotland. Most of our water is soft water, not hard water, because of the way that is. What will be interesting is if it's coming through peat bogs and stuff like that, because it does mention here that we do use that Tom and Tool have special editions like a peated Ballantrae. So of course, if that water's coming off the hills and going into that, they're getting that snow melt as well that's coming off. So that's all these kind of things. That's really important to us. The other part as well, does that water go through some kind of filtration plant as well? You know, nowadays local water sources have got chlorine and fluoride and everything else put through it, so it makes it more friendly to us, getting rid of all that bacteria. Do they do exactly the same up at the spring at Ballantrae, or do they just draw that off? If you go to our Falkirk distillery, the distillery in Falkirk, they've drilled a borehole down into the soil. There's a natural spring underneath the Falkirk distillery. They've drilled a borehole 240 feet into the ground, and all their water comes from this natural spring under the ground.
Well, that's interesting.
the fact that there's two graveyards that the water runs into, that runs off of the two graveyards, that's what gives the spirit body. Sorry, I've been waiting to get that joke in for weeks. I mean, drums.
You've been just waiting for an opportunity to use that one.
The water runs off the graveyard and into it, and it gives the spirit body. That's I've been waiting for that for weeks. So anyway, Clark, did you score it?
I have. Now, I'm giving it.
I actually quite like it, Clark. It's a nice dram.
It's not a bad dram by any manner of means. It is a very gentle dram, as it says. It's very soft and gentle and easy to drink. So I've given it an 86, which I think 8.5 out of 10 is not a bad score for that dram, I think.
I've scored at 86 as well.
There you go.
And I feel a wee bit aggrieved because I only gave the Balblair an 87.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's more than one. It's more than 1 point better than this one that I've got in my hand.
Yeah, I would say so as well.
But I wouldn't. Would I take it up to an 88? Possibly. Would I take this down to an 85? Possibly.
Well, you would be. I think you'd be doing the right thing to take the other up to an 88, rather.
I wonder why that would be. Anyway. We've got two different drams. So therefore, I'm not scoring them based on each other. And I think that's the important part. Is when we score the drams, we've not got two drams tonight, and we're going to say this one is better than this one, right?
No, that's not the point.
So we're not measuring the drams together and saying this one's better than this. What we're saying is, this one, to my palate, I prefer this one to this one. It's not a competition that Balblair is better than Tom and Tool, because I dare say we could go and get two drams, one for Balblair and one for Tom and Tool, that Tom and Tool would wipe the floor with the Balblair. So it's not about comparing distilleries. It's really about our palates and what we're liking out of them and sharing that with other people, because all our palates are different. You know, we could give you two drams to two other people and they might say it's like mouthwash. And two other folk might turn around and say it's the best whiskey they've ever had. They've maybe not had much whiskey. They taste them and think, oh, I could drink them. These are two very drinkable drams. Yes. Two drams that if somebody put them down to you and you'd never had whiskey before, I think you would like both of them.
There's no problem with that at all. That's right.
Aye. They're nice, easy, Aussie drams, which I've enjoyed again.
Well, I've enjoyed enjoying them with you.
You've gave me another dram that I've not had ever before as well, but we'll leave that for another night.
Yes.
Tomatin Legacy. Another bourbon in a virgin oak. Now, do you still have the Glengoyne White Oak, or have we done that one?
We haven't did it yet. It's still sitting over there.
Right, perfect. Because I think what we'll do is we'll do the Glengoyne Virgin Oak with.
Yes.
Because it's a virgin oak cask. And so is the white oak. It's a non-age statement. So I'll set that beside there. I've not got much of the Glengoyne left, so we need to do that next week. Am I back next week? Yes, I'm back next week. So that's fine. And we'll do them. We'll put those together with it. Now, I'm glad I kept a wee drop of this because I really enjoyed that. And in fact, I've been letting it sit for a wee while.
You like even more?
It's nice on the nose.
See, you're going to bring that up to an 88. I know you are.
A wee peachiness. That's lovely. Anyway. See, actually, having had the PX and finishing this, I preferred the PX. On the last two, which is very strange, preferred the PX. On that last two to finish, comparing the two of them there, but on the initial tasting that we've just done, the Balblair wins by 1 point for me.
2 points for me, but there you go.
And 2 points for you. So that's us. Another great night in the tasting bothy, buddy.
Absolutely. We've done well again.
Where every dram tells a story, we just give them the words. And everybody gets to join in.
Better put it to music one day while we're at it.
Yeah, aye, maybe we need to do that sometime. We need to put some music into it. I kind of think I know the tune. I'll tell you when I'm offline, but anyway, that's
a good idea.
Should be weird. A bit of, I know folk would say maybe Morecambe and Wise, but I'm sure there's another one that I can think of that would be there. Maybe like Flanagan and Allen, but anyway, that's another story. But Tony's asking if we mixed the two, then would they be amazing? No, because it would only make one dram, Tony, and we got two.
Aye. Well, we won't know the answer to that because we've finished the Balblair. So.
Yep. So, Jim and George. Ron's been a wee bit cheeky.
Jim and George, I know. Aye.
They're both did.
And we're no.
Aye, very much so. So, that's us, buddy. Thanks again in the tasting bothy. My TikTok is up and running. We've got it all going. I've been adding little TikToks every week. I've been doing 60-second sips. So if anybody's on TikTok, can go and find us in the tasting bothy. We'll get one of these going very shortly, Clark, together. A wee TikTok together, which would be nice. Maybe do a wee live tasting somewhere on TikTok, because we've not done that yet. So we'll say our fond farewells to you. We'll catch up with you again. Thanks, Tony. Glad you enjoyed our evening with us. It's always great to have you on board. And we'll see you all again next week in the tasting bothy.
Good night.